Fellow Horaxians, hello. Commander Cyrious here. The news today is sad. Toadman Interactive Studios, the studio co-founded by Robin Floden originally, which eventually spawned EG7, officially took over development of Planetside 2 8 short months ago, has been shut down. Let's dive into the details. I'll see you at Planetside. So folks, what we've learned over the last few weeks is that every news website on the planet can read and regurgitate information from a generic press release. Sorry, I've just seen like 70 news articles since that say the exact same thing, just reiterate what was said in the press release, provide no analysis or insight as to what's going on. The boldest ones just link to the subreddit. So, PS2 community, you're being watched by the world. They even linked to your comment, Yan Lexi. Congrats! My depression spiral for Planetside 2 really hit rock bottom when I went to save the template here and noticed how recently I made a video called Toadman Takes Over. And before we really dive in, sorry about my delay here, guys. If you caught it, I did a stream right when this news broke. I made a very unlike me and bold prediction that we'll go over towards the end of this video. And I debuted a video that I decided not to release. I did a 2024 summary before this news came out, and I was just so frustrated with whenever I sit down to do a video about Planetside 2, it's always negative. And it's just because whenever I take an honest stock, an honest look at the game, that's what comes out. And so rather than break my content dry spell, I just opted not to release it. But then with the news dropping, it was kind of like, yeah, that is the inevitable result of recent performance, and videos like that are the only thing that can follow. If you guys want to watch that, there's going to be a link to the stream in the upper right of this video. There's also going to be a link to a video I did about a year ago that really helps break down what the hell is EG7, what the hell is the Strapto Capital, what the hell is Columbus Nova, and how do all of these things actually tie together. Because in the wake of this news, I'm continuing to see people that are very confused about the ownership structure, the development structure, the production structure of Planetside 2. And it plays an important role in understanding what's going on. So if you get confused at all, you could refer back to that video. Okay, on with the show. Here is the news. They are laying off 38 people from Piranha Games. These are the people that run MechWarrior and recently released MechWarrior Clans. CEO G. Ham says the team at Piranha truly delivered a high-quality game that exceeded both internal as well as external expectations in terms of quality, story, and gameplay. Despite the phenomenal work by the team at Piranha, the game failed to reach new audiences and expanded its core audiences as anticipated, and therefore has not met the necessary sales targets, which has forced us to undertake necessary actions. Corpo speak for, I just barely gave them enough money to get the game done and allotted none to marketing, so no one even knows this game exists. And it's actually quite good. So according to the Q3 report, Piranha had 106 employees, and with 38 let go, they cut about 35% of their workforce. The story of Toadman is much more grim. It is not a reduction of the studio, it is a closure. A complete shutdown. All 69 people are being let go. The ones that are engaged in the current contracts will remain until those are done. And the 27 people that are not were let go immediately as of the 9th. They say the wind down decision stems directly from the continued industry challenges and the studio's inability to secure new work-for-hire contracts at a necessary pace, which is corporate speak for we fired Robin Floden, who came up as a gamer and was excited to make games and was someone companies were excited to work with, and we replaced him with a corporate bean counter that no one wants to work with, and now we're surprised that the work dried up. So the speculation obviously is, what are the contracts? The main contract is with Cold Iron Studios doing development for their upcoming game, which is a sequel to their successful Alien Isolation game. A big part of my video was the frustration with the reason Toadman can't get anything done is because they're not an exclusive studio like Rogue Planet Games. They are beholden to these other work-for-hire contracts, and they took priority over Planetside 2. Now let's take a quick peek at this chart again. July through September 24, that's Q3 2024, Cold Iron Studios paid Toadman Interactive 8.5 million Swedish krona. In that same quarter, Toadman's revenue was 8.8 million SEK. The Cold Iron contract was almost 97% of Toadman's revenue. So let's be very clear, the majority of the outstanding development contract for Toadman Interactive is to work on the sequel to Aliens Isolation. Now, there is some additional revenue. It amounted to about $26,000 in that quarter that we could guess is a contract with Daybreak Games to do work on Planetside 2. So if there is an outstanding contract to deliver the assault facility or to deliver the Strider or any of these other dev letter sort of things we've heard about, there is a chance those things could be completed under those contracts. But I will guarantee you any non-contract development is dead as of this moment. So here's what I expect will happen next. EG7 or someone will announce that development for Planetside 2 is being handed back to Daybreak Games, and they'll probably pick a studio. It could be Dimensional Inc., it could be Standing Stone Games, probably whatever studio has the most resources freed up right now and are not heavy into an expansion development for their respective games. It'll be a similar situation to what it was with Toadman, where it is a secondary objective. If the sound team doesn't have anything to work on, you'll start seeing new sounds coming into Planetside 2. Getting actual coder time that could work on the core of the game, very unlikely. Now, what does this all mean for Planetside 2? Development death is instant. Sure, there's a contract. They might wrap up something we've seen, but work going forward, non-existent. In my stream, I made a very bold prediction of Planetside 2 death in 3 months. Let me explain the concern there. EverQuest, Dungeons & Dragons, H1Z1, all of these titles will never be at risk of death like Planetside 2 is for one key reason. Daybreak owns the rights to these games. On the other hand, for Planetside 2, they do not own the rights. There will have to be licensing negotiations, and if they go wrong, Planetside 2 will have to stop. Not because it couldn't be profitable with the servers running and just a few members still, but because two corporations couldn't come to an agreement. Now, what is the more likely scenario? Daybreak Games, who is already the publisher, keeps doing the generic updates, basically based off of holiday seasons that have a few bundles associated with them, and they keep trying to sell those things. The licensing negotiations will be hard, but in the end, just before the game goes offline, I expect Astrapto Capital to cave and allow EG7 and Daybreak to keep the game online, even if they're getting much less than they feel they deserve or need to make the 5.9 million price tag on the IP worth it. But bottom line, Planetside 2 is in a very precarious position at this point, which to me says you should definitely play it right now, because who knows how long you have, but also be cautious in how much you invest in it, because if you buy a year-long boost, who knows if you'll get to use it all. Now let's think a little bit about silver linings that could come from this. The first silver lining is that if the game actually ends, it could be on the radar for someone else to pick up. While Planetside 2 is still going, I don't know why any other development studio would want to work on something. They don't want to compete in the IP. They would want it to be done and gone so that when something new released, there's a big healthy dose of nostalgia for all the past players, and they would want to come check out the new title. Now, if this prediction is just one more on the pile of millions of death predictions of Planetside 2, I would expect they will finally move aggressively to get servers merged. And my hope is that Daybreak Games still has access to the talent pool that did original merges or worked on the database of Planetside 2 and could do it more efficiently and effectively rather than Toadman, which is probably learning everything from scratch about it. So we'll see. I'm going to be watching closely in the next 2 weeks. If we get any real news on what is actually next for Planetside 2 now, I will let you know right away. Make sure you check those videos in the upper right if you want some more details on the current ownership structure. And otherwise, I will be leaving you here and looking forward to seeing you in the next video. I am Commander Cyrious, and until next time, I will see you Planetside.